Got them out of a minute, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life before riches, huh? That life before riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glitzy, run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
What's up, boxing fan? This is TB Boxing, back at you again. All right, so we're going to talk some boxing today. We're going to be talking about the Deontay Wilder situation. As you know, the fight is coming up soon, July 24th. The trilogy. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So now, today's topic is news flash. It is not impossible that Deontay Wilder could outbox Tyson Fury in the trilogy fight. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, right? That's the topic, Now, there's a lot of, a lot of the pundits out there, and a lot of fans out there. Basically, from what I'm hearing, it seems like a lot of people think it's a foregone conclusion that Deontay Wilder is going to lose to Tyson Fury. That's basically what we are seeing. That's what people are talking about. A lot of pundits out there saying, Deontay Wilder has no chance and that he can't win this fight because of what happened in the last fight and in the first fight. And now I would agree with that sentiment, if I would agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly if I thought that Deontay Wilder was going to go back in the ring and basically use the same strategy he did the last fight, or the last two fights, which was just try to get the one-punch knockout. However, it doesn't look like that's what's going to happen this fight, with this fight. It looks to me, okay, from what I'm seeing, from what I can, what we have been able to pick up from what we've seen in Deontay's training regimen, it looked like Deontay Wilder is actually, trying to make changes for this fight, okay? And, if he's going to make changes for this fight, then I'm going to have to adjust, what I think about how the fight is going to end, or how the fight is what the result of the fight is going to be. Because, there's nothing like motivation. And it seems to me that, Deontay White, for whatever reason, is very motivated for this fight. And he's so motivated in the fact that he's actually making the necessary, or attempting to make the necessary changes so that he could have a different outcome in this fight than, the last fight, or the last two fights, okay? So with all of that, it's hard for me to see how, people can think that the fight is going to end. Is going to be the same result. Now, it might be the same result. I'm not saying that Deontay Wilder is going to win the fight, because I'm thinking that more than likely Tyson Fury should win the fight. But you never know, okay? And, as long as I see Deontay Wilder making the necessary adjustments, which it looks like he's doing, it's just the eye test. I don't know for sure what he's actually doing. I mean, we see the videos, we see him practicing, we see him, using some different punch selection and, some different techniques in there. And and it looks good. He looks quick, look like he's really, buckling down and trying to get the job done. As long as he's doing that, then, I'm going to have to, I can't count him out. Now I can tell you right away, and everybody that's watched any of my videos on Deontay Wilder should know by now, I'm not a fan of the Deontay Wilder fighting style. I've said it before, I'm saying it now, and I will always say it. As long as that fighting style is that one-punch knockout style, looking for one punch, the whole fight, trying to knock out somebody with one punch, depending on that one-punch knockout. I'm not a fan of that style of fighting. It doesn't matter if it's Deontay Wilder using the style or whoever is using the style. I'm just not a fan of that style. I think it's a lazy style. I think it's, I think that especially when you have, attributes that you can bring to play, a guy like Deontay Wilder, it's not like, it's not like Deontay Wilder. I mean, Deontay Wilder is an athletic person. I mean, so it's not like he only has the one punch knockout to bring to play. He got a lot of, there's a lot of things that Deontay Wilder can do. He's very, he has the physique he has the great physique, for a heavyweight boxer, not big and not too muscular, right height, not too thick, okay, lean, loose muscles, okay, limber muscles. So, Deontay Wilder could be if he would just buckle down and do what he needs to do, he could be one of the top fighters in the heavyweight division, if not the best fighter in heavyweight. But, he has to go to school and learn, the various techniques that he needs to learn, the fundamentals, the jab, the hook, the right hand, the uppercut, all these different punches that Deontay Wilder could have been using in his career, but he just going for that one punch knockout in all his fights. Okay, so now it takes this, a defeat like what happened in the last fight for him to change his tune. And, I'm going to have to, basically, if he's going to change his tune, then, we're going to have to, we can't count him out. And so I'm thinking that it's a possibility that Deontay Wilder can win this fight against Tyson Fury if he goes in there and pulls off what I see him attempting to do in this training camp. Okay, so he's going to have to go out there and execute. Okay, now we don't know when he goes out there. We all heard, you heard the famous quote by Mike Tyson. Everybody got a plan until they get hit. Okay, and so it's possible that Deontay Wilder can go in there with a good plan and then get hit, and then all that goes out the window. I mean, that's possible. But again, I'm gonna choose to look at the optimistic side of it and say that's not necessarily true, because we all saw what happened with Anthony Joshua. He went in there and changed his whole style up, and we all saw the result of that. He was successful. So I don't see any reason why Deontay Wilder can't be successful. Now, I will admit that Deontay Wilder, when you talk about Deontay Wilder, you're talking about Anthony Joshua, you're talking about two different kettle of fish. I mean, Anthony Joshua was never a one-punch knockout artist. He never depended on any one punch. He's a guy that put his punches together, and so he has a history of putting punches together. It's just that in his fight with Ruiz in the second fight, he was more on the back foot than he was on the front foot. Okay, like he usually is, and so he was able to box on the back foot and defeat Ruiz. Now, I will admit that Deontay Wilder doesn't show that type of versatility in his fights, and so it might have been easier for Joshua to adapt to a new style, and it will be for Deontay Wilder to adapt to a new style. I mean, that is possible. So, but he's been training for a while, so it's been a year now. So hopefully, Deontay Wilder has been training for the whole year, and he's ready to go in there and do what it takes to win this fight against Fury. I would love to see him. I would love to see him go in there and actually change his style and do what needs to be done and get that victory over Fury. That would be great for boxing. It would be great for Deontay Wilder. Okay, I mean, and then we can probably see another fight. They might have another fight. To break the tie. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, so I'm not. So basically, what it comes down to is that I'm not counting Deontay Wilder out yet. Okay, I don't think that we can say that it's a guarantee that Tyson Fury is going to win this fight. I mean, it's likely that Tyson Fury might win the fight. I mean, we all saw the last fight, so more than likely, something similar will happen this fight, but there's no guarantee of that. Okay, and so I think that Deontay Wilder is a live dog in this fight. He still has a puncher's chance, but I mean, I don't really put too much credence in the puncher's chance because he didn't help him the first two fights. Okay, so he had a puncher's chance, but that's not much of a chance for what I've seen so far. With Tyson Fury. So what he's going to need in this fight is more than a puncher's chance. He's going to need to box. To let some of those boxing skills shine through. And so we're going to see if any of all that training that Malik Scott claimed that Deontay Wilder has been doing, and Malik Scott is saying that Deontay Wilder has been listening to him and doing what he needs to do in the gym. So we're going to see if that's going to translate into the ring and into something that can be successful for Deontay Wilder in his fight against Tyson Fury. Okay, but I don't want to, like I said, count Deontay Wilder out yet. I want to see what happened, when we get close to the fight. See if we see any more videos of him training. See how he looks. I mean, now we saw the press conference that they had recently, and that was a little troubling. I mean, the fact that Deontay Wilder just sat there and didn't really do much. I mean, now in one way I can understand it. I understand where he's coming from. I think I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to intimidate, trying to intimidate Tyson Fury with his silence. Okay, so you heard silent river run deep. Okay, so maybe that's what he's trying to do, and I think that's what he's trying to do. I mean, I don't think it's working, but I mean, you can't blame him for trying. He got to try something. You know what I mean? So anyway, I wasn't much of a fan of that whole scenario. He should have just said what he had to say. He's been talking, on these different channels on YouTube about getting cheated and all that, and now he had a chance to, in front of the world, to say what he had to say, and he didn't say anything. So, but again, maybe it's his strategy. He's trying to. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's trying to intimidate Tyson Fury. He's trying to, use his silence. And trying to make everybody think that he's focused and he's, that he's really on the job and he really wants this win. So maybe that's what he's trying to intimidate with his silence. Whether it's going to work or not, neither here nor there. But it was a bit disappointing to see him there and he didn't really say much. But then again, what can he say? I mean, we all saw what happened in the last fight. So the press conference, wasn't much of a press conference. Malik Scott did a little bit of talking, and Tyson Fury did the rest of the talking. Okay, so basically Deontay Wilder just sat there, listened to his headphones. I don't know if he was actually listening to his headphones or if he was just sitting there, listening to what people were saying. But he didn't really say much besides bloodshed. I'm going to take his head. Something like that. It was funny as hell. But anyway, so that's basically what it comes down to. So now a lot of people saw that and say that, hey, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury is in his head. And that may be the case. I don't know. Again, Deontay, by looking at Deontay Wilder, he seemed like he was, to me, he looked pretty determined and looked like he's really focusing in on this fight. Now, whether or not the way to go about showing his dedication to the fight is by not saying anything at this press conference, whether that's a good strategy, is debatable. I mean, you're supposed to be promoting the fight, but again, this fight don't really need much promotion for as far as I can see. I think that this fight is going to be, a lot of people are going to be watching this fight. It's been in with all the drama and all the allegations and all the, all of the confusion surrounding this fight. They don't need any more promotion. Believe me, this fight is promoted enough. It's been getting over a year of promotion so far, constant promotion by people talking about the fight, the cheating, the allegations, the Watergate, the referee. I mean, we've been talking about this fight for a whole year straight, non-stop. So they don't really need any more promotion. It's already got all the promotion it needs to get. And this fight, we just got to wait for the date now to see how the fight is going to actually turn out. Now, again, like I said before, I'm thinking that I would love to see Deontay Wilder come in there, change up his strategy, and do what Joshua did with Ruiz. Now, admittedly, there's a big difference between Ruiz and Tyson Fury. So that means that Deontay Wilder got a much tougher job than what Anthony Joshua had. Okay, so it's a tougher job by degrees. So whether Deontay can actually pull this off, remains to be seen. But he has a good start from what we have seen, with his training videos. I mean, he looks pretty good in these videos to me. And if he could actually go in there and do some of the things that I see him practicing, then I think it should be a pretty good fight, and he has a shot. Okay, because Tyson Fury is not invincible. We all saw what happened with Otto Walling. Okay, and Walling Otto Walling is not as talented a fighter as Deontay Wilder. It's just that he uses, the various boxing techniques that Wilder don't use. So if Wilder can go in there with the right technique and the right style and the determination, he can possibly win this fight. I mean, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be able to do it. The only way that Wilder is not going to win this fight, I mean, the only way, and I'm not saying he's going to win the fight. I'm saying the only way I would say that he has no chance of winning the fight, which I'm not saying. I'm saying he does have a chance. But the only way I would say he had no chance of winning this fight would be if he went in there and did the same thing he did last time, which was one-punch knockout, trying to just not land one punch. If he continues with that, he has no chance of beating Fury. But if he goes in there and, mix it up and, do the things that needs to be done, he got a shot. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't have a shot. You know what I mean? So now in the press conference, we saw that Sugar Hill said that they've been working on something new, and that Sugar Hill announced in the press conference that now Tyson Fury has one-punch knockout power. Wow. I mean, now, that was an announcement. I mean, that was some announcement, okay? Because if Tyson Fury really has one-punch knockout power now, Deontay Wilder is in big trouble. Okay? But, I mean, it's probably just talk. I mean, we hear Tyson Fury say he's coming in at 300 pounds. He's going to try to make 200 pounds. I don't know about that either. But we'll see how it plays out. But if Tyson Fury does have one-punch knockout, then, it's going to be a tough fight for Deontay Wilder, because the first punch that lands is over with if he does really have one-punch knockout power. Okay? And, that's what Sugar Hill said. Whether that's true or not, we'll see in a little bit over a month from now. We're going to see if that's true or not. Okay? I mean, it's possible. I mean, Tyson Fury is a big guy, and it's possible that, Sugar Hill has been teaching him how to throw his punches the right way, sit down on his punches, and he can probably be, a big guy like that, there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to knock people out, So it just seems that the reason why he hasn't been, say, a knockout power guy is because he hasn't really been sitting on his punches. He's been doing more fighting off of the back foot. And so, jabbing, moving, and then every once in a while he throw an overhand right, uppercut, left hook, whatever, but not really sitting down on his punches, constantly moving. So maybe Sugar Hill taught him something new, like he did in the last fight, and he's going to come out there with a different strategy. But whatever that strategy is, one-punch knockout power, that's a new wrinkle. And if he really does have a one-punch knockout power, then, it might be a short night for Deontay Wilder. Okay, but we don't know. Again, it's going to be so basically what it's looking like is this. It's going to be a different Deontay Wilder in that ring, supposedly, according to his team. And according to Team Fury, there's going to be a different Fury in that ring as well. So we're going to see two different fighters, two different fights. Okay, so that's what we're supposed to be seeing based on what we're hearing from these two camps. Okay, so we're supposed to see two different guys in there fighting on the 24th. And this fight should be a knockdown, drag-out war based on what we're hearing from both camps. Tyson Fury is going... Tyson Fury says he's going to put a dent in Wilder's head, and Wilder says that it's bloodshed. That's all Wilder's been talking about. Cutting heads off, decapitation, bloodshed, redemption, revenge. So it's all war for Deontay Wilder. Let's see if he can actually pull it off. But again, my point, I'm doing this video because I'm just, I see a lot of people out there talking about, like as if they're talking as the fight is already over with and Tyson Fury has already won the fight, and I wouldn't, anything could happen in boxing. Like I said, I'm not really a fan of the Deontay Wilder fighting style that he's been, displaying for the past couple of years. Never was a fan of that style. It doesn't matter who's fighting with that style, whether it's Deontay Wilder or anybody else. I'm just not a fan of it. And so I was never really a fan of the way Deontay Wilder fought. And I thought that the first guy that came by that can fight that he fought would beat him, and that's exactly what happened. And so, hopefully, based on what we are seeing, Deontay Wilder realizes that now when it's come to his senses, maybe, he realized, it took losing his title, for him to realize that one punch knockout style that he has is just not going to work with everyone, and he needs to have some kind of versatility and something else that he can go to if that one thing doesn't work for him. You can't depend on one thing. Okay, so hopefully all this training that he's been doing, he actually goes out there and fight night and execute, and we could see something spectacular from these two guys. This could be one of the best fights in the heavyweight division in a long time if both guys come in there well trained and ready to go. So we're going to see how it plays out. But yeah, I wouldn't count Deontay Wilder out yet. Not saying he's going to win the fight. More than likely, he's probably going to lose, okay, based on what we saw already, okay. But there's no guarantee that Tyson Fury is going to win this fight. I mean, it's more likely he's going to win, but it's not guaranteed. Okay, so let's see what happens. Anything could happen at the end of the day, and now there's been a little controversy going on about Deontay Wilder and Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo was talking about Deontay Wilder making excuses and that about the Tyson Fury, and Jermell Charlo basically saying that Tyson Fury didn't cheat and that Deontay Wilder just lost the fight. I mean, everybody got a right to their opinion, and if Jermell Charlo want to say that, he can say that. I mean, Deontay Wilder might not agree with what he says, but a lot of people agree with what Jermell Charlo was saying. Okay, that Tyson Fury is making up but excuses, and you just lost, and you just can't accept a loss, and that's all there is to it. And for the most part, that's what people think. Okay, so but Jermell Charlo, I mean, he's probably one of the only guys out there that's really saying anything about that. Most of the guys out there just going along, just being quiet and not saying nothing at all. I guess they're following the whole adage: if you don't have nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. So this, but it looks like Jermell Charlo doesn't really give a damn, and he's just telling it like it is. And hey, he got a right to say what he think, and so it is what it is. That Deontay Wilder just have to deal with it or not. You know what I mean? But Charlo, I don't know if anybody talking about the Charlo. I don't know if everybody saw the fight with Montiel and Jamal, Jamal's brother. That fight was something else. I mean, nobody expected the fight to go the way it did. I mean, I watched that fight, and that guy Montiel. I mean, I've never seen a guy fight like that before. I mean, he just comes straight at you, like with both legs, side to side, like he's coming straight on, not from left side, not from the right side. He's squared up in front of you, and he's just standing there, and he's trying to throw punches. I don't know how Charlo did knock this guy out. I mean, he was there. He was right in front of Charlo the whole night. I don't understand what was going on with Charlo. It looked like Charlo. It looked like it was the toughest fight of Charlo's life. I mean, I don't know. I think the funny thing about this whole thing is that I heard, that Jamal Charlo said that, I heard that Boo Andre, said something about the fight, and then Charlo said, basically Andre called him out, and he's been calling him out for years. And basically, Charlo said something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing, that Andre should fight Montiel first, and then you see. I mean, what a weak answer to somebody calling you out. So somebody calls you out, and you tell them to go fight the guy you just beat. What the hell is that all about? I mean, you just beat this guy. Why you tell him to go fight that guy? It's supposed to be the best fighting the best. So what's the point of him fighting Montiel? For what? I mean, this guy Charlo, man, this Jamal Charlo guy, I don't know what the hell. I mean, this guy is so weak. I mean, this whole, Andre thing is so lame. And then it's the same thing with the Benavidez situation where he said something about Benavidez, and Benavidez called him out, and all he doing is making excuses and trying to back out of the fight with Benavidez. I mean, these guys, man, it's ridiculous. I mean, so if Andrade is supposed to, Bubu Andrade is supposed to go and fight Montiel, then maybe is Charlo going to fight Liam Williams now? Should he fight Liam Williams before he fight Andrade? Right? So, I mean, the whole thing is stupid, man. I mean, Andrade just needs to be, I don't know what the, I mean, not Andrade, but Charlo just needs to, I don't know. I thought that, of the two brothers that Jamal was going to be the one with the bigger future in boxing, but I was totally wrong with that. This guy has become so lame. I mean, it's not even funny. I mean, he make his brother Jamel look like a superstar. Okay, I mean, Jamel is accomplishing way more than what Jamal is accomplishing in boxing. I mean, Jamel is up there at the top of the game, getting ready to become undisputed if he wins his next fight. And we have Jamal Charlo fighting people like Montiel and it being a knockdown, drag-out fight, and he's up there talking about Bubu Andre should fight Montiel next. I mean, as if Montiel was anybody to fight. And just because he had a tough fight with Montiel, he's thinking that Bubu is going to have a tough fight with Montiel as well. I don't know. I like I said, man, these guys, I don't sometimes, I know what these guys are thinking about, but Jamal Charlo needs to step up his game, fight somebody instead of fighting these guys he's been fighting. He need to fight, unify the title, fight Andrade, fight Murata, fight Triple G, or fight somebody. Okay, there's another middleweight out there. What's his name? The Cuban kid that just won the title. He used to be 154 pounds. His name will come to me in a minute. But yeah, so I mean, this guy fight somebody instead of ducking and hiding and talking about he's a I mean, this guy is ridiculous, man. You need to fight somebody. But then again, I mean, here's this guy. And they were talking about how, him and his brother Jamel was talking about the fact that Bubu Andre is a terrible fighter. He's a terrible fighter. Agreeing with Canelo when Canelo said that when Andre pulled up on his post-fight press conference, asked him and called him out. Canelo said, "Oh, he's a terrible fighter." And then we saw the Charlos, like a bunch of parrots saying the same thing. Oh, he's I mean, talk about a terrible fighter. I mean, look at the fight with Charlo and Montiel. I mean, wow. So at the end of the day, a fight that he was supposed to go in there and knock the guy out in the first 1, 2, or 3 rounds, end up going the whole distance and end up being the toughest fight of his career. Okay? To the point where he had to go in there and said that Montiel was a warrior and that, he put in a tough fight. Okay? And hey, it is what it is, though. I mean, what can I say? But, these guys, I mean, I just hope that, sometime soon, somewhere, some of these guys will get some balls and they will decide to fight. We'll get to see Andre fighting one of these guys. I get some, see some good fights out there. I don't know who would Jamal Charlie is going to fight next, but I'm not optimistic based on what I saw. I've been seeing of him so far. He's probably going to try to find some guy at welterweight to fight. At this point, I mean, this guy, a big, strong guy like that, man, and he just, just wasting away at the middleweight division, doing nothing, But hopefully, we might be able to see him fight somebody next. I hope he fights Andre next, or Murata, or somebody. But we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, so that's all I have for right now. I just want to add my little piece in there about this Deontay Wilder situation, and how a lot of people count Deontay Wilder out, but I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm not going to count him out just yet. I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to win the fight, but there's no guarantee he's going to lose either. So we just have to see how it all plays out. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Go to tbboxing.com. Get some merchandise, get the latest news, headlines, and boxing commentary. This is TB Boxing. That's all I have for right now. I'm out.